Hello everyone, this is BK Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to take a quick look at the live action Batgirl costume that was recently revealed online and just see if it's a good fit for the character overall. Now for anybody who doesn't know, Batgirl will be the first big live action adaptation of the character, who we all know as Barbara Gordon as the alter ego. It will be released exclusively on HBO Max sometime within 2022, and prior to this we had some exclusive footage of them filming behind the scenes. I believe it was in Glasgow. They've started filming on this project from November last year, and recently they've moved to the location in Glasgow, and if you go online you can see some footage of Leslie Grace in some police uniforms and walking along the streets as well. Now we know on the project so far it's set within the DC Cinematic Universe, and it will also star Michael Keaton's Batman, J.K. Simmons returning as Commissioner Gordon from the Justice League movie, and also Brendan Fraser will be cast as the Firefly character, which we presume will be the overall film. Now we know of course that Leslie Grace was cast in the lead role, and she's recently starred in the musical In the Heights from last year. I haven't seen the movie yet, but for anybody that has, let me know in the comments whether it's a good movie or not. So we're not going to speculate as much on the movie itself, we're going to talk about the costume. So we're going to take a look at it here, and on the first look, I think it looks quite good. They've taken clear inspiration from the 2014 comic book run, which was under the New 52, I believe, and that has much more of a purple costume with a yellow stroke gold bat insignia with the cape and the belt as well, and that's what they've taken the clear example from when adapting this overall costume, and I think it does look good. I'm always in support of staying as close as possible to the source material and try and be comic book accurate, so on that basis I think we have to give them credit here. I do like the stand-in pose, that's very comic book-esque. We see her standing on the building and you've got the various gargoyles behind her, that's typical Batman, so I like the overall aesthetic that they've gone for here in terms of her stand-in. I see also that they've added a red taint to her hair colour. That was one big question when Leslie was cast overall within the role. I like the length of the ears, they've got that sharp pointed look at the top on here. I think the ears look far more better on this costume than what they do for the Robert Pattinson version of Batman, and I think the cowl suits her head very well. I like the texture as well that we see at the front of her cowl, it looks very good as well, and I just think the cowl here, it just fits her face very well with in terms of the eyes and the nose and the outside of her face as well. So they've done a good job here in making the cowl fit her face. Now I do have some issues with more the material of the costume. If we look at the texture here, it has very much of that biker suit or biker jacket feel about it. If you see on here, you've got the little stripes in with the costume on here and at the front here. So the issue I have is that I don't feel the costume very much accentuates her figure. Normally when we see a Batgirl costume, it's very much more of that skin tight texture to emphasize more the female shape, but the costume here isn't really doing that, and it's got very much more of that flatness feel about it, and that's no disrespect or commentary on the figure of Leslie herself, but I think it's just more the costume. I think it does hide away a lot more of her curves and her hips, and it's not just on the frontal area, it's more on the legs as well. If you look on her legs as well and her hips, it still doesn't really give that much more of a athletic feel to it, I would say. Now maybe they did try a skin tight version of the costume and perhaps it was just too uncomfortable. Maybe it wasn't as mobile when she was doing all of the fight scenes, because we assume of course being Batgirl that she's going to have a lot of involvement in terms of fighting various adversaries, so of course you want to build a costume that's far more comfortable for the actress to be able to walk and run and kick and throw as well. Now having said that, the Batwoman costume that we saw was much more of a skin tight outfit, and I think that looked very good in live action as well. So I do feel they could have maybe gone for a much more of a female accentuating look in terms of her costume. I do like the utility belt with the gold capsules that we see on here, that's very good. So in this look here, they've gone for a black belt, whereas the comic book version, this was all yellow, but that's fine. That still looks good for the character. Again, I like the gun that she's got on here with the holster, that looks very good. She's got the belt straps, that looks very good as well. And I also like the bat insignia. Now this could be just a shading of the actual shot that we have on it, because I'd want to assume that the bat insignia has got far more colour. I don't think it should be darkened too much. I think that was one major criticism from the Zack Snyder films, is that every costume had this very faded grey look about it. It just was very unappealing. And if Warner Brothers are indeed wanting to veer away from the Snyderverse and introduce far more of that colourful tone, then hopefully they will include that for this Batgirl costume as well. If you look at, for example, the 1966 Batgirl costume, that version very much complements more the female figure. Then they could have taken inspiration from that version and of course made a few adjustments, because at the time of course that version was a lot more brighter, but they could have taken this version and just modified it a bit, and I think this would have fit Leslie very well. And again, this version here again complements more of her figure. So other changes, you can see that they've gone for the black gloves this time rather than the yellow gloves from the comic book costume, but that's fine. Now they have managed to add the more golden cape on here, again sticking closely to the source material, but that's good. So you can see on the outside it's got the black colour here, so maybe it's only going to be yellow on the inside and it will be black on the outside. That wouldn't surprise me because, as I just mentioned, they're going to tone down a bit, I think, the brightness overall. So I think she'll probably have a black cape on the outside and it will be yellow on the inside. But overall, I do like the look. I just think it should have been much more of a skin tight costume again. It just would have given that much more of a feminine, much more of a dynamic pose and look to the overall character. But I think you can't really complain too much overall. Again, they've reddened the hair, which is good. I like more the bat insignia, that looks good. And I think the best feature for me is the cowl. I think the cowl looks spot on here and it just fits her face very well. And I like the standing pose as well. So really, in terms of the costume, I like it. We may indeed get some modifications if they look at the social media reaction and decide to make further changes. It's convinced me more that Leslie Grace can look like the character, even though I still feel that Zoe Deutsch should have been chosen. But overall, I don't think you can complain too much. It's just the material, I would say. The fact that it's got much more of that biker jacket look about it. I think it should have just had much more of a skin type feel towards it. And I think that could have been even better as well. And we all now just wait until we can get a full-on trailer for the project to get a further gauge on whether this will be a successful entry within the DCEU or whatever they're calling it so far. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and quick impressions on the Batgirl costume. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you think it should have more colour? Are you like me? Do you think they should have taken away biker jacket material and given far more of a sleeker, much more of a figure-hugging aesthetic? How do you think it compares to previous Batgirl costumes that we've seen over the years? Do you think it's better or worse? Do you think they could have adopted maybe something from the Arkham games or the Gotham Knight games? Let me know what you think in the comments. Please also hit and like those subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.